There are some people who were never meant to be just one thing. They were not born to be light workers or shadow dwellers, they were forged to be both. You might feel like you've been living with spiritual whiplash. One moment you're channeling divine compassion, and the next, you're filled with rage so ancient it feels like it predates your body. You meditate and feel peace, but in the silence, you also hear echoes that aren't yours. You touch people with your words, but you also shake them to their core with your presence. If you've ever felt like you don't fully belong in the light or the dark, it's because you were never supposed to. You carry both. And the signs have always been there, hidden in your contradictions, your chaos, your clarity. This is not a curse, it's a code. And today, we're decoding it. The first sign is that you have always been too much for most people. Too intenser, too emotional, too quiet, too expressive, too still, too wild. This isn't random, it's vibrational. You carry dual frequencies in your field, angelic light and demonic depth, and people unconsciously feel it. They don't know why you make them feel both safe and threatened at the same time. Why your presence activates their higher self and triggers their shadows. Your energy is not simple. It's layered, ancient, textured. You are a mirror of both heaven and hell, and most people aren't ready to see both in one reflection. But let me ask you, have you been shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's comfort zone? Because if so, you're not just betraying yourself, you're silencing a vibration that was born to shift empires. The second sign is that you've always felt a deep connection to both the sacred and the forbidden. You're drawn to temples, light codes, mantras, and healing practices, but you're equally fascinated by dark psychology, chaos magic, shadow work, and ancestral rage. You don't run from the dark. You sit with it, study it, let it speak. And this terrifies people who think spirituality is about love and light only. But you know something deeper. God speaks through contrast. And sometimes it's the darkness that teaches you how to hold the light. You've likely been spiritually shamed for this, called too dark by the light and too pure by the dark. But that's because you're not meant to choose a side. You are the bridge, the frequency holder, the one who walks between worlds and doesn't get lost in either. The third sign is that you've experienced extreme polarities in your life. You've known deep peace and wild chaos. You've touched transcendence and tasted madness. You've lost everything and rebuilt yourself from nothing, again and again. This is not a flaw in your path, it is your path. You are not here to live a linear, pretty story. You are here to embody the full spectrum of divine polarity. You've been tested in ways others can't even imagine, not because you're cursed, but because you're coded. Your soul chose this. Because only a soul that has held both heaven and hell can teach others how to survive the fire and still become light. But let me ask you honestly, are you still judging your chaos as failure? Or can you finally see it as sacred training? The fourth sign is that you have an unexplainable ability to shift rooms. Not just emotionally, but energetically. You walk in and people feel something shift in the air. Some feel peace, others feel panic. You don't have to speak. Your presence does the work. That's because your aura is not just a field, it's a portal. It carries codes from both sides of the veil. You activate people's higher self and their inner demon at the same time. That's why you're misunderstood. That's why some people project their shadows onto you. Because your presence forces them to face what they've buried. You are not here to be liked. You are here to wake people up. With love, yes, but also with truth. And truth doesn't always feel like a hug. Sometimes it feels like a lightning strike. You were born as both. The fifth sign is that you've battled inner demons that didn't feel entirely your own. Depression, rage, obsession, isolation. You felt darkness that wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. And yet, you survived. You didn't just survive, you alchemized. You didn't just cry, you channeled. You didn't just break, you transformed. That's because your darkness isn't a weight, it's a weapon. Not to harm, but to protect. To cut through illusion. To destroy old systems. You carry demonic power not because you're evil, but because you are trusted by the divine to wield what others fear. You are the one who can walk into hell not to burn, but to liberate souls still trapped there. But I'll ask you something risky now. Are you still afraid of your own power? Or are you finally ready to wield it with wisdom? The sixth sign is your ability to love with intensity that feels both healing and haunting. Your love isn't soft, it's transformational. When you love someone, they are never the same again. You awaken parts of them they didn't know existed. Your love stirs their shadows and their light. It's not always easy to receive. Some people run from it. Others try to possess it. But very few can meet it. Why? Because your love is not human, it's mythic. It comes from a place beyond time. You've likely had soulmates, karmic lovers, and spiritual mirrors enter your life who couldn't stay. Not because you weren't enough, but because your frequency demanded their transformation, and not everyone is ready to rise. You are not here for average love. You are here for divine union, but only after you first integrated the angel and demon within yourself. The seventh and most undeniable sign is this. You've always known deep down that you are different, not better, not worse, just other. You see things others don't, feel things others can't, carry wisdom that can't be explained by your age or background. You've likely been called an old soul or even a dangerous one, and you are dangerous to illusion, dangerous to control, dangerous to any system that profits from unconsciousness, because you carry both the sword of the divine and the fire of the abyss. You are the one the elders whispered about, the one who remembers the old codes, the one who came not to fit in but to recode the matrix. So now I ask you the question that only a few can answer honestly. Are you ready to stop hiding and start embodying the power that scares and awakens at the same time? How to channel both forces without being devoured by either? To carry both angelic light and demonic darkness is to walk a razor's edge. Most people will never understand the weight of that balance. They think in binaries, good or evil, light or shadow, heaven or hell. But if you're watching this, you've already seen through that illusion. You've realized that real power doesn't come from choosing one side. It comes from mastering the dance between them. The angel in you wants to heal, to protect, to uplift. The demon in you wants to destroy illusions, burn down systems, and expose truth, no matter how uncomfortable. These forces are not enemies. They are expressions of divine will. But if you don't learn how to channel them consciously, one will overpower the other and you'll either become a martyr of light or a weapon of chaos. Neither is your destiny. Your destiny is integration. Let's begin with the angelic light within you. This part of you is not just about being good. It's about remembrance. You remember who you were before the wounds. You remember the divine blueprint encoded in your DNA. The angelic part of you holds patience, forgiveness, compassion, and vision. But if left unchecked, it can also become self-sacrificing to a fault. You'll give to others until you bleed. You'll forgive those who weaponize your forgiveness. You'll stay in toxic environments because your light tells you everyone can be healed. That's when your angel becomes a liability. Because light, when disconnected from discernment, becomes naive. You must learn to wield love with boundaries, compassion with clarity, service with self-respect. The angel in you must evolve from savior to sovereign. Now let's look at the demon in you, the part you were taught to fear, suppress, or deny. But what if I told you this part of you is sacred too? The demon in you is not evil, it is raw. It is the unfiltered essence of power. It is your rage that refuses to let injustice live. It is your lust that demands deep connection, not spiritual bypassing. It is your grief that refuses to stay silent about what was lost. The demon in you destroys not to cause harm, but to make space. Burn away illusions, shatter cages, cut cords. The danger is not in your darkness, it's in your disconnection from it. When you deny your darkness, it leaks out through addiction, manipulation, or self-hate. When you own it, you become a force of sacred disruption. So the work is not to tame your shadow, it's to purify it through consciousness. Here's where the alchemy begins. When you consciously hold both your angel and demon, you become a vessel for truth. Not filtered truth, not convenient truth, but cosmic truth. You begin to speak from a place that both comforts and confronts. You become a voice that whispers peace and roars revolution. This is why so many people are magnetized to you and terrified of you at the same time. Your energy carries light codes and shadow keys. You unlock people. And unlocking someone is not always a gentle process. Some will thank you. Others will resist, blame, or exile you. But none will forget you. Because when you walk in divine duality, your very presence becomes initiatory. You won't need to explain yourself. You'll just be, and the frequency will do what it was encoded to do: awaken. But this path isn't easy. There will be days when your light wants to forgive, and your darkness wants to sever. Days when your angel says, give them another chance, and your demon says, burn the bridge. You'll feel torn, and that's okay. The goal isn't to silence one voice, it's to listen to both and then choose from alignment. Sometimes the aligned choice is fierce. Sometimes it's soft, but it will always be clear. This is the level of spiritual maturity you're being called into, not just power, but discernment. Not just energy, but ethics. You are not here to be ruled by either force. You are here to rule them both. You are not their servant. You are their sovereign. So how do you stay balanced? Ritual is key. You need practices that ground your light and contain your fire. Meditation to cleanse your field. Movement to release stored chaos. Journaling to give voice to your inner conflicts. Sacred silence to hear your soul through the noise. You also need mirrors, people who won't just validate your light, but also hold you accountable for your shadow. Not everyone can walk with you on this path. Many will want you to pip aside, but your mission is to embody wholeness. And wholeness includes contradiction, paradox, and power that doesn't always make others comfortable. Ask yourself this: who are the people in your life that honor both your love and your fire? And who only feel safe with one side of you? Finally, understand this: to carry both angelic light and demonic darkness is to be a living paradox. You are the storm and the stillness, the sword and the salve, the portal and the protector. You are not here to be understood, you are here to awaken. And awakening is never polite. It dismantles, it disrupts, it devours what is false. That's why you've always felt like too much. That's why your path hasn't made sense to others. Because you were never meant to be a follower of light or a prisoner of shadow. You were meant to be a sovereign of both. The time has come to stop apologizing for your power. You are not broken. You are bi-coded. And you were born for this. The final embodiment, becoming the living gate between heaven and hell. This is where everything converges. Not just awareness, not just mastery, but embodiment. You've walked through the understanding of your dual nature. You've learned not only to hold your light with discernment, but to wield your darkness with integrity. Now comes the final transformation, becoming the living gate, the one who doesn't just know they carry both heaven and hell within, but who embodies it with purpose. This is where most people stop, because to embody this dual power means dissolving the last illusion that you are supposed to be safe. You were never meant to be safe. You are meant to be true, and truth, in its rawest form, liberates and terrifies. It gives birth and it destroys. When you fully embody both your angel and your demon, you don't just walk the path, you become it. You become the place where light and shadow reconcile, where the sacred and the profane kneel to the same flame. To live as the gate between heaven and hell means you no longer seek permission to exist in your fullness. It means you stop explaining your intensity, your wisdom, your rage, your softness. You stop trying to convince people you're good. You stop proving you're not bad. You simply are. And that being radiates a frequency that shifts reality. People will feel it before they understand it. Some will be healed in your presence. Others will be exposed. Not because you're judging, but because your energy is coded to activate truth. You will walk into a room and awaken things in people they've buried for decades. And this has nothing to do with ego. It's not about control. It's about function. You were designed to disrupt unconsciousness. That is why you've always attracted chaos and miracles in equal measure. It's not random, it's resonance. You are the storm and the sanctuary, and the world has never needed that more than right now. But here's the secret no one tells you. The final embodiment isn't loud. It's not always dramatic. It's deeply silent. Why? Because when you fully integrate both forces, angelic and demonic, you no longer react. You simply respond. You no longer look for validation. You move from knowing. You don't chase healing, you transmit it. You don't fight shadows, you out-vibrate them. Your very existence becomes a sacred disruption to anything that is false, shallow, or divided. That's why demons fear you and angels watch you. Because you're no longer part of the game. You've become the reset, the embodied paradox, the living myth. You understand now that your darkness is not the opposite of your light, it is the depth of it. And your light is not the denial of your darkness, it is the integration of it. You are not half this or half that. You are wholeness. And wholeness is what shakes the foundations of every system built on separation. So now I ask you the final question, one that only those walking this path can answer with their life, not their words. Will you stop hiding behind the illusion of neutrality and finally step into your role as a living gate between worlds? Because if you do, it will cost you everything that was built on safety and smallness. You will lose relationships that only loved parts of you. You will outgrow identities that kept you digestible. You will walk away from teachings that told you to be light only or dark only. But what you will gain is sovereignty. You will become untouchable, not because you are above the world, but because you are rooted in source, both its rage and its grace. You will speak in tones that echo across timelines. You will love in ways that resurrect the dead parts of others. You will no longer be a seeker, you will be a frequency. You are not here to be a saint. You are not here to be a sinner. You are here to be a synthesis. The proof that divinity is not a straight line, it's a spiral, a flame, a force that bends backward and forward to meet itself in you. You are the revolution encoded in skin, the myth made flesh, the flame that remembers its origin in both stars and shadows. The final embodiment is not a destination. It's a devotion, a daily choice to live as the full spectrum of what God made you to be. You are not here to fit in. You are the anomaly, the exception, the prophecy. And the moment you stop waiting for the world to understand you, and instead start embodying the truth you were born for, everything changes.